Say, man, you see my crab cakes? Till I'm all alone. If you see my crab cakes, tell her things went wrong. Don't call on the phone and bring a black draw home. A little tartar too. Come on, little girl, tell me what you want to do. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. So come on, baby, let's get Louisiana down. If you see my crab cake, have you seen my crab cake? If you see my crab cake, till I'm all alone, till I still love her, and when she come back home.
Now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you listen, hope you're doing all right. The show's being brought to you in part by Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service. If you're looking for a limousine, you're someplace in the United States of America, well, then you need to give my girl Cat a call. Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service, 202-351-7496. Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service is the official limo service of this year's Billy C. Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend, November 16th, 17th, and 18th. Make your plans now. Visit the website, www.billycboxing.com. Click one of the Billy C. Boxing Hall of Fame banners. That's right. Yeah. Give Kat a call, 202-351-7496. She's got the limo for you, and you're not going to be able to keep your eyes off her. She's gorgeous, but she's my girl. 202-351-7496. The show's also being brought to you in part by Camp and Aaron Tomkovich. If you need a lawyer, use the ones that keep my ass out of trouble. That's Campanaro and Tomkovich, whether it's legal law with, like contract law, I should say, not legal law, but contract law. If you need a will drawn up, business contract, maybe you bought a house, maybe you need some real estate law, maybe you need an issue, get rid of the old ball and chain, maybe you get some matrimonial law, maybe you got a kid you want custody of, I don't know, maybe a dog, maybe even criminal. Whatever your situation is, give Campanaro Tomkovich a call, 845-221-4099. That's 845-221-4099. Campanaro Tomkovich. Tell him Billy C sent you, and that I'm going to pick up the consultation fee. 845-221-4099. And, of course, my friends over at the Halftime Bar and Grill, Route 9, South Glens Falls. If you're in the Lake George, Glens Falls, South Glens Falls area, and you haven't checked this place out yet, the hell are you waiting for? They got the 1-year anniversary already going on. I think it's this weekend. Free food. That's right. Swing on down for the free food. That's right. All the locals. You mentioned free food, free beer. Forget about it. You'll have a riot on your hand. They'll all come out of the mountains. But anyway, check them out. Route 9, South Glens Falls. Give them a call ahead. 518-792-4869. Don't forget, on Friday nights, when they have Friday night fights, you can find us there giving stuff away, as long as I'm not doing a gig someplace. But check them out, 518-792-4869. Hey, before I get going, I just want to, before I tell everybody what's going on, we got to do one of the emails from the mailbag, and this is from a guy that just does not have the patience to listen to anything. But here's my problem, Our military here in the United States, it features the most intelligent, biggest heart, the best people on the planet. And that's what our military represents. As far as everyone here in the United States, they better be thinking that. We don't have some flim-flam military. We have only the best people. Not anybody can get into our military. I'm proud of our United States military personnel, all the men and women that are part of that. I salute them all for protecting us and keeping our freedom. The reason why I say that is because this particular person can't possibly be in our military, despite using a military alias, USS Curtis Wilbur. Again, our military is the most intelligent people on the planet. This guy can't be too intelligent, so therefore he's either a wannabe military guy or whatever. He writes, this is the last time I might say this. Do you expect us? Now, he's speaking for everyone, and this happens to be a YouTube post. He's speaking for everyone that's a YouTube person. He says, do you expect us to listen to your 2-hour program before we can finally hear about the title of your video? Most of the people have to work to do that, and they just want to hear the topic and none of the extra music and all the other stuff. If we want to hear music, we can turn on our radio. Why do people go to YouTube to watch a video? Listen, dude, in case you haven't figured this out, this is a radio show. It's a TV and a radio show, okay? We put this up there because we got a huge demand for people that wanted to have the show up here. If you don't know that little button, you see, you press this little button down here, and you grab it with your mouse, and you slide it over. You can fast forward it any way you want. The bottom line is this. Listen, if you don't have the attention span to watch this show and talk about boxing and listen about boxing for 2 hours, do yourself a favor. You got the power in your little mouse click. Don't visit the site, man. Don't visit the site. Don't take the time to write a paragraph of how you're threatening that you're not gonna listen. I don't care. You know what? I made a comment one day goofing around with the YouTubers saying their attention span wasn't more than 4 to 8 minutes, and I got countless emails from YouTubers that told me, no, we want to listen to the show, keep doing what you're doing, blah blah blah. All right, so to U.S. Curtis Wilbur, do us all a favor. Don't take the time to write something as stupid as this, because it's showing all of us how your lack of intelligence is pretty nauseating. But what's more nauseating than that is that you use a military handle a USS typically is associated with someone who's in the military or has been in the military. And I can't believe for a minute that you're part of our United States military, because everyone that I know that's in the military is an extremely intelligent person. And you, my friend, obviously don't get it. You just don't get it. So anyway, it just irks me. I like to give everybody their little piece of time, when they do the comment. And I take some slack for, all the Mayweather lovers and everything. We're constantly talking about Mayweather. We're sick of him. Most of us here on the show are just sick of the guy. I have given him kudos lately and everything else, but I still give his fans a platform to get their points and thoughts across, and I comment on them. But I tell you, guys like that Wilbur character, G. Wilbur, guys like him, it makes me wonder. And to complain about a video, I don't even know what I should be thinking. But to complain about that when you have the power of just not listening to it, or just fast forwarding it, it's just beyond me. Given Quality says, no, nothing about, I guess so. I was going to say, nothing about Mayweather, but he says, then Sergio should move down since he's so small to 154 and fight Canelo, Cotto, K9, or even Kirkland. He might not even be able to handle them. And he says, I think he could probably beat Cotto and Kirkland. I think that all the talk about Sergio and everything else. Listen, for all the Mayweather fans out there that, why wouldn't you want to see him fight? Listen, my point is this. I don't care if the fight was at 160 or 154. First of all, Sergio would fight Mayweather at 154. Would fight him at 154. Mayweather right now is a 154-pound fighter. He's a 154-pound titleist. So he's going to fight in that. If he doesn't, he's going to relinquish that title, and he'll go back down to welterweight. Whatever the case is, I think Floyd is at the point now where he's trying to really secure his spot. And, to go to 160 to fight Sergio, I mean, that's a statement. He's going to beat Sergio Martinez, so don't worry about it. And as far as, given Quality, as far as Canelo, come on, man. I know you're smarter than that. Canelo is a hyped fighter. He's developing before our eyes. He's not ready to fight. Not even a Sergio Martinez. He's not even ready to fight a Sergio Martinez. Maybe K9. Yeah, maybe K9. Maybe. I don't even think he would fight Cotto. Canelo Alvarez. I don't even think Alvarez can beat Cotto. So, but anyway, hey, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Rosselli Enterprises. Rosselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flowboys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Rosselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RosselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the ideal computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at iboboxing.com.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you. I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C. dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. radio show. You're watching us on LDL TV. Give a shout out to Michelle and Dawn. Oh yeah, and John too. Over at LDL TV, making our viewers go up and 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 up. Anyway, we're reading the emails, and still irked about USS. Can't figure nothing out. But EQX, he says the 154-pound weight division is the new hot weight class. Yep, it certainly is. I think that at least it is for Golden Boy. They've seemed to put a lot of emphasis and focus on the junior middleweights, and it's a decent class. I like it. We got some talent in there. No, the truth of the matter is, everybody's always saying how, oh, boxing's dead. It's this, it's that. But we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of talent out there. It's just that we don't know a lot about them, or most people don't know a lot about them because of lack of promotion. But you've heard that from me a lot of times. But my man Hawk says, I agree Ward should fight Butte, but I also like to see Dawson against Ward. I do too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to see the fight. I just don't think we need to see it right now. I think what we need to see is Ward clean up the super middleweight division, and he's already done it with the exception of Butte. Butte's got a fight coming up against Frach, and as soon as that fight is over, those two, the winner of that fight, assuming it's Butte, should go and fight Andre Ward. And then, should Andre Ward win that fight, then move up, because he would have accomplished everything he possibly could have in the super middleweight division. Now, with all that said, Chad Dawson has also said that he's willing to come down to fight Andre Ward. So we have to wait to see. It is an intriguing fight. It is a fight that people want to see, and I hope it happens. I just feel that Ward has to fight Butte. But then again, don't forget, if Dawson comes down to 168, then he's got Butte there too. So we'll have to wait and see. He says, he goes on to say it would be an interesting fight, even though it might turn out to be boring. I don't think Ward wants to fight Dawson. I think Ward will fight anyone. And I think if it's going to be a boring fight, that's going to be because of Dawson. I think Dawson's kind of a boring fighter. But Ward at times can be exciting. My hang-up with Andre Ward has nothing to do with his excitement factor, his abilities, or anything. He's a good role model. He's everything you want in a champion. It's just that he's lacking that it. Remember? I always say that it factor. So what is it? What is it? I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like the guy. It's like the friend that can pick up any chick, right? Or somebody, or the girl that can get any guy. Well, any girl can get any guy, in case they haven't figured that one out. But, it's like the guy that the women just are attracted to, no matter what. It's like, well, how does he do it? What does he do? I don't know. He's got it. What is it? I don't know. Bajorn says, and Bajorn gave me several emails that all had to do with the steroid stuff and everything else. Plus an interview that he did. He's apparently a writer with Floyd Mayweather, and Mayweather mentioning long ago, before he was Money Mayweather, when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, that he felt that steroids were rampant in boxing back then, and he's starting to look pretty good. I'm going to comment on that in a bit, but he says the use of illegal substances is rampant and getting more rampant in boxing. It's all about beating the test. I saw this quote, and it made me think. The quote is what I just said. The use of illegal substances is rampant and getting more rampant in boxing. It's all about beating the tests. Bjorn says, I saw this quote and it made me think, is this why certain nutritionists, trainers, etc., like Alex Arizia or Victor Conte are sought out? That's exactly why they're sought out. I think, and that's the problem with these PEDs, because that's why they call them designer drugs almost, because what happens is, they discover one, the powers that be discover one, and then the next thing you know, they're figuring out a way to come up and mix up another version of the same thing that's not detected. So, it's a shame, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But one thing I will say is, with the anti-doping law, with the anti-doping agency and stuff, it makes you wonder, if a fighter is going to adamantly request the drug testing, if they're going to request it, and actually not only request it but demand it, and then they turn around and test positive, to me, that says one of two things. It either says, hey, I'm the dumbest person on earth because I don't think that even though I'm taking PEDs that they're going to catch me, or you honestly don't think you're doing anything wrong. And, I got to kind of lean towards the latter because, how could somebody be so brash that they're thinking, that the test isn't going to, it's not going to point out that they are taking something that they shouldn't. I just think that, everybody's into the nutrition and supplements and this and that. And I think that some of those supplements contain ingredients that the fighters are not aware of, and any athlete for that matter. And they take them, and that's why they stand in front of that camera, in front of that microphone, and they say, read my lips, I have never taken a steroid in my life. And then they slip them a piece of paper, and it's got the old, you tested positive, you schmo. And it's like, what? It was an ointment. I rubbed it on my shoulder. Yeah, whatever. We had some fights this weekend. We'll talk about some fights on Friday night first. I just want to say, I feel bad because I had told a friend of mine who went to see the Serrano-Mayfield fight over at Albany Times Union. Now, I was supposed to be ringside, but I wasn't able to because last minute I covered a fight and called the action ringside of a fight in Tampa, which was a fantastic card. I'll get to it in a little bit. But, he calls me, he says, hey, man, I want to put a couple of bucks on the fight. Who's going to win? And I said, you know what? I think it's going to be a close fight. And Serrano's the promoters. Serrano's guy is the promoter, So I think if it's a close fight, it's going to go down to the scorecards. They'll give it to him, But all the while, I knew, because the last time I saw Ray Serrano, I said, I think it was to Dax. I think Dax was with me. We saw him together, and I said to Dax, "This guy isn't all that." They're touting him to be a world championship caliber guy. And, I'm looking at him, I'm saying, I'm not so sure. This is what you get, okay? For all the young promoters out there, or even if you're an old promoter, this is what you get. When you sign a fighter and either you give him too much up front or you can't really afford him, or you're just scared because he's a blue chip kind of a guy, and you protect him and coddle him and build him up and invest your money into this guy and get him to 18-0 against dead men, against people that you spend more money trying to make them appear like they're a viable opponent, and then you put him in his first real fight on television, expecting a W and to catapult him into stardom, and you get a performance like Raymond Serrano did, which was just being overwhelmed by a superior fighter in Kareem Mayfield, who's had a little tougher opposition, and just it's called exposed with a capital E. And so many fighters are just like Raymond Serrano. They believe their own press clippings. They start knocking out all these guys, and they start winning, and they start thinking they're forgetting about the records because people tell them all the time, hey, don't go by that record. Yeah, he's only 3-25, but don't go by that record. He's got 28 pro fights under his belt, and you only got 8. So don't go by that record. He's a tough guy. Yeah. He's tough, boss. He's tough. Yeah. This is what happens. He gets destroyed. Kareem, harder hitter, Mayfield, improved to 16-0 with a draw, with 10 of his wins coming by knockout. When he stopped Raymond Tito Serrano in the 5th round on Friday night at the Times Union in Albany, Serrano drops to 18-1, losing for the first time in his career, 8 knockouts. He was battered around from the beginning to the end. They finally stopped it. Eddie Cotton stopped it at 47 seconds officially into the 5th round. Just goes to show you that when you're building a fighter up, you got to put him in there with some tough guys before you put him on the big stage. And that was his biggest stage he was on. Main event, ESPN, Friday Night Fight. Yeah, imagine that. They actually did him. And gets stopped by a guy that traveled all the way across the country to dish out a beating. So congratulations to Kareem, hard hitter Mayfield. And back to the drawing board for you, Tito Serrano. Maybe you should insist that your promoter put you in there just a little bit tougher next time. Jason Escalera, he remained undefeated when he fought to a draw. Some people look at draws as a blemish. I look at it as a nothing. It's not a blemish. It's not a W. It's a draw. Jason Escalera and Nick the Machine Gun Brinson both fought for 8 rounds, and at the end, the judges saw it 76-75 for Escalera, 76-75 for Brinson, and the equalizer had it 76-76, giving these two guys a majority draw. And Kevin Rooney, they call him the Kid. He opened up the telecast. He's in the middleweight division. He started out his career as a junior middleweight. Of course, his father is famed Mike Tyson trainer, Kevin Rooney, good friend of mine. Kevin is a great guy. Didn't turn out the way everyone had hoped. Kevin Rooney draws a big crowd in the Albany area, and he kind of came out of this one by a loss. Now, there was some controversy there. Because in one of the knockdowns, he had suffered 2 knockdowns. One of the knockdowns, the first one, actually, when you look at it, many people believe that it wasn't a knockdown, and that actually made the difference in the fight. Kevin Rooney drops to 4 wins, 2 losses, 2 of his wins coming by knockout. And Anthony Jones remains undefeated at 2-0 with a draw, no knockouts. It was a unanimous decision for Anthony Jones, 39-35, 38-36 twice was the way the 3 official judges scored it. I got to take a break. When I come back, I'll finish up with the scores and highlights before we get into the drug use in the sport of boxing. And I don't mean weed or anything like that. I'm talking about PEDs.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretcher, that man, I would think.
You're listening to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. From upstate New York in the good old US of A.
Boxing is here to stay because we are here to stay.
The best 2 hours of boxing talk on the airwaves.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C, damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. My fellow Americans, good evening. Welcome back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It's great to be here discussing the sweet science with everybody. I love boxing. I love talking boxing. It's what I do.
Bill.
Wait, what?
Bill.
Why are you interrupting me? What?
Wrong.
What's the problem?
Billy,
what?
C.
I did not have...
We're gonna have to ask
wrong
you.
Speech. What do you mean wrong, Billy C? What's going on here? Fine, I'll go. I just wanted to talk some boxing on TPSradio.net. That's all I wanted to do. I don't need your damn show. I'll get my own talking wrestling with the other Billy C. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. I've always been a Hulkamaniac anyway.
Broadcasting live, brother. Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. on the mighty TPSradio.net, brother. What you gonna do, brother?
And we're back. You're listening to Talking Boxing with Billy C, a radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. That's right, man. And I want to welcome the Fight Now TV channel that's joining us right now. And, I got a chance to talk to a lot of people. I did the show in Florida on Friday night. And, everyone I was talking to have the AT&T U-verse provider, television provider. And I told everyone, now's your chance. Whoever's got the AT&T U-verse TV provider as your television provider, you can get Fight Now on your channel. That's right. All you got to do is call AT&T U-verse or call any of your television providers right now, whether it's satellite dish or cable, and tell them you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. If you ask, you shall receive, but you got to call up. That's the way it works, man. They get it all ready, lined up in the queue, and then they sit back and they say, well, if we get a demand for it, we're going to give it to them. But if they don't demand it, we ain't giving it to them. So you got to call and demand it. That's what you got to do. For all the information about Fight Now, visit their website, www.fightnow.com. We're talking about some fights that took place this past weekend. We're on Friday, and then we'll do Saturday. Usually I do Sunday, then Saturday, then Friday, but I started off. I had it in the wrong order. Okay, I had it in the wrong order, so I'm doing it. I'm doing it this way. But junior welterweight Ivan Cano improved to 22 wins, 3 losses. 15 of his W's coming by knockout when he won a 10-round unanimous decision over previously unbeaten Mauricio Pintor, who now is beaten, 17-1 with a draw right now, 11 knockouts. Took place in Mexico City, and hey, 10-round unanimous decision. So we'll see what happens for Cano. How about this? This fight, first of all, you know me. Do I ever say anything negative? Yeah. All right. I admit, I say some negative things. I'm going to say something negative right now. Mike Stewart, Mike No Joke Stewart, is a complete joke. Mike No Joke Stewart is a complete joke. And so is the promoters that keep promoting him and trying to shove his talent down our throats like he's so good. They bring in Christopher Fernandez. Now, Christopher Fernandez is a journeyman fighter that, is a measuring stick. Now, Christopher Fernandez is a tough fighter. There's no question about it. This kid is tough. He look on his resume. He's lost to the best of them, and he usually beats, nobodies. As like Greg Hagen would say, Tijuana taxi cab drivers, and I mean, this is who Fernandez usually beats. And then they get him a couple of wins. They throw him in with a blue chip or a contender or something else, and he loses. He goes the distance, but he loses. He's got a record now of 20 wins, 15 losses, and a draw, but only 12 knockouts. But now he holds the coveted WBU welterweight title. Why? Because he beat Mike No Joke, who really is a joke, Stewart, via an 8-round decision, unanimous decision, on Friday night in Dover. Stewart drops to 48 wins, 8 losses, 3 draws, 25 of his wins coming by knockout. 80-72, 79-73, and 77-75. This puts it all in perspective. Mike No Joke, who really is a joke, Stewart, he's the hometown guy. He's the promoter's guy. And the judges all know it, and they still couldn't give more than 1 round to him. So, I mean, come on. What does that tell you? Again, it falls back to what I'm saying about a young fighter. The same thing is for the older fighters. When you're constantly handing them and feeding them these less than stellar opposition, and then you're bragging, pounding on the chest that they're so good. This was supposed to be a layup fight. This was supposed to be an entertaining fight against a tough guy in KO Kid, Kid KO Fernandez, and it turns out to be a loss for Mike. He really is a joke, Stewart. But here's the best part. The main event was supposed to be Franklin Yaya Lawrence against Mike Molo. Mike Molo is a guy that hadn't fought in at least a year. I think it was 18 months. I don't have his stuff in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's been a while. And he's in with one of the biggest joke promoters there is. If you see, a promoter generally, when you put that promoter hat on, that means that you actually have to promote a show. You know what I mean? Like being a promoter and telling people and wearing the promoter's outfit. And having promoter on your business card, when you hand somebody a business card, it says promoter. Yeah. Aside from that, you kind of actually got to, promote a show or two maybe. I can understand about co-promotion. I can understand about building up a stable and waiting until, you can fill up a card or whatever. But somewhere along the line, when you hand out that business card and it says promoter, you kind of got to do a show, Well, Mike Molo's promoter, at least as far as I know, hasn't even promoted his own show yet. He walks around. He's one of these wannabe guys that walks around, says he's a promoter, and he gobbles up fighters like Mike Molo, who's a nutcase to begin with, and finds them these fights which they're. He wouldn't have had a chance against Ra-Ra Lawrence. Not that Ra-Ra Lawrence is so good. It's just that Molo is not that good. And anyway, after all of that rambling, the bottom line is it fell through. It fell through. Last minute, fell through. They wouldn't let the fight happen. And therefore, Mike, he really is a joke. Stewart moved up to the main event. When they handed him Chris Fernandez, and then I just told you what happened in that fight. So what a bad night for some promoters that need to step up their level of, or I should say, need to step up the quality of their shows. What is there even a real commission in the state of Delaware? Because some of these fights that they approve, it's crazy. It's crazy. There was another fight on the card. The one thing I will give credit for Delaware on a serious note is that the reason why they wouldn't let the fight happen is an MRI on the brain of Mike Molo didn't come back 100% clean, and that's why they wouldn't let him fight. So, you know what? Kudos to them. If it turned out to be an error or what have you, it's unfortunate for Mike Molo, but better safe than sorry. And all I could say to Mike Molo and his crackerjack promoter, maybe next time you would take your test, a couple of days earlier, so that in the event there's an issue, you get to take the test again or something, rather than wait till the last minute. So once again, a wannabe who really doesn't know the rules and procedures gets bit in the ass. So it serves you right. That's all I can say. But on the undercard, which moved up to the co-feature, Ronica Jeffrey, she improved to 10-0 with one knockout when she won the WBU Women's Featherweight title with an 8-round decision over Jackie Trivellino. And Jackie Trivellino is 8-5 right now, and she's out of the Albany area. So it was a 8-round unanimous decision. I believe this was a rematch between these two fighters. So anyway, Jackie Trivellino should move up in weight and fight Chevelle Halbach in New York in July. Oh, did I say that? Sorry. Anyway, some other fights that took place on Friday. Oh, I mentioned the Albany card, but I forgot to mention the undercard. Some of the undercards. I mentioned the three that were on television. David Telesco made his comeback. A sad one because he was stopped in the fifth round. He was supposed to go 8 rounds against a local kid that was. He had 15 fights under his belt going into the fight, and Vincent Miranda knocked out David Telesco in the fifth round. Miranda improves to 15 wins and a loss, and 9 of his W's come by knockout. And Telesco should just go wee all the way home. He was never that good to begin with, in my opinion, and now he's 30 wins, 8 losses, and a draw. It was a tough night for my man Joe DeGuardia. Several of his fighters went down. 6-round welterweight fight, Kenny Abril, 12-5. He improved to 12-5 with a draw, with 7 of his wins coming by knockout when he added one when he stopped Brian Abraham, who's got an upside-down record but a tough kid. The problem with Brian Abraham is he's too wild. He doesn't go in. He doesn't even try to protect himself. He just wants to wail away, and he drops to 6-12. He lives in Schenectady, local kid. That's why he was on the card. And in the walk-off bout, Tony Brinson of Geneva, New York, which is western New York, and LeCann Byfield out of Georgia, they both fought to a draw. And not only did they fight to an even fight, but they even ended up with an even record, 2-1-1 for both of them right now. So that was the fights on Friday in Albany. Now I got to call ringside on some Florida television and also on a webcast, a card out of Tampa, Florida. Now it was promoted by Alessi Boxing Promotions. Now Phil Alessi. Was a big player in boxing for a while. Not a Don King or a Golden Boy type player, but that next level underneath, and promoted over 300 shows and what have you. It was pretty big going for a long time there, and then had a little absence out of the sport for various reasons. But they've come back, and about 6 weeks ago, they put on a show quietly, and there was a lot of whispers around that they may have lost their touch because the turnout wasn't that good and everything else. But the Alessi family, who the whole promotion company is formed by, says, you know what, just relax. We put on over 300 shows. We've been on major networks. We know what we're doing. we're going to be running shows every 6 weeks. And sure enough, they ran another one, and it took place on Friday. Now, I got the last-minute call, and I apologize for, I'm not going to mention any names, but Bigger Buck. Oh, did I mention Bigger Buck's name? He was uptight because he just forked over that very expensive $15 a year to become a premium subscriber so you can get all of our content. But apparently he didn't listen to the fact that we did not do a live show on Friday, so he was wondering where the show was. And he's smart, you see. Now, he drives, so he had to take a 4-hour drive. And that's the advantage of being a premium podcast subscriber. Because if you're going to go on a plane ride, or if you're going to drive, or if you commute to work every day, you could take that podcast like most of the people do and listen to it on your way to work or when you're working out or whatever. And that's the advantage of it. But the problem with Big Buck is that he didn't realize that we didn't do a show on Friday. That's why he couldn't get it, because there wasn't one, right? But the reason why is because I got the call on Wednesday night, late Wednesday night, and Thursday, right immediately after our show, I ran and caught the plane and got down there and got to call the action. What a card this was. And from what I understand, you're going to be able to watch it. So you got to check out AlessiPromotions.com. Keep an eye on there. Drop him an email. Tell him Billy C sent you and that you're looking to watch this card. But what a card. 10 fights. Every single one of them was you were on the edge of your seat. You know, I got to give credit to Chico Rivera, who was the matchmaker on this one, the best matchmaker in the state of Florida. And I mean, really, if you're in the state of Florida, there's really no one else to even consider using but Chico, and this is proof in the pudding. The main event featured Jesse Carradine. Now he's out of Ohio, and he stopped Anthony Woods. Now this fight didn't go on long. It was one of the short fights. It was the main event. Now Anthony Woods, they call him Psycho. Right? And I met him at the weigh-in, and I actually rode in one of the vehicles with him to the weigh-in. And they kept saying, his trainer's like, I got to sit near Psycho, I got to hang out with Psycho, blah 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 blah. And I never really said two words to him. I asked him a couple of things, but never really judged him or anything like that. Didn't seem like a psycho to me. Well, he gets the nickname Psycho because he is a psycho. As soon as the bell rings, as soon as he comes out to get ready to fight, he's of psycho proportions, okay? And he just definitely looked like a psycho when he was in that ring. And when the bell rang, he was kind of, all over the place in the ring. And Jesse Carradine took not too long to size him up and landed a solid right that dropped this kid, Anthony Woods. Now, Anthony Woods gets up. Now, I saw his eyes were still blinking and rolling in his head and everything else. And the referee looked him right in the eye and said, "Can you continue?" And he's holding his gloves up and he's like bouncing around trying to get his legs together. And they let him continue. And Jesse Carradine went in there like just a crazed killer and just landed a barrage of shots that just sent Anthony Woods down and out for the count. 1 minute and 39 seconds of the first round. It was in the junior welterweight division. Here's the other best part. Carradine likes to fight at around 135, 132 to be exact, is his favorite, most comfortable weight. And this fight was at junior welterweight. So, he he definitely pops a punch. 8 wins, 1 loss, and a draw. Only 4 knockouts, I'm surprised. But that was the main event. But let me tell you something. That main event really was the only strange thing of the night, in my opinion, because the rest of the card was just packed the house. It was a beautiful venue at the DoubleTree in Tampa, and they told me that it could fit about 700 people, and I don't think you could have squeezed a playing card, a deck of cards in there. It was so packed, and most of them came to see Silky Wilkie Camphor. Now I know Silky personally through Chevelle Halbach and some other fighters down in Florida, and I've heard nothing but good things about this kid, but I've never seen him fight. And I got to see him fight. I called the action. He improved to 10-1 with what I define as an old-school methodical breakdown of this fighter he fought. Now, Roberto Venezuela has been around. He's got like 65 wins and 61 losses or something like that. But Silky Wilkie broke this guy down with a body attack that you haven't seen since Jake LaMotta. All right? I mean, this kid went in there and just systematically broke down a veteran fighter in Venezuela, working the body, left side, right side, center, left side, right side, center, up to the top of the head, back down to the body, up to the top of the head, body, 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 back to the head. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing to watch. His trainer, he's been on the show. He's a friend of mine. I tell you that he's the best kept secret in boxing. Sherman Henson was working this. This body attack was it was unbelievable. Finally, during the fight, and I got to give Venezuela credit. He was hanging in there, taking a beat, nodding every time he was getting hurt. And Silky Wilkie disciplined as most. I mean, I don't see most fighters I see are not as disciplined as Silky Wilkie. And he just kept to the game plan. And eventually, but just before the end of the fourth round, the corner stopped the fight. They saw their fighter was in some trouble, and it gave Silky Wilkie the knockout win. Now, here's something I found out just yesterday, that Roberto Venezuela actually got one of his ribs broken, and he knew about that in between the third and fourth round, and that is what prompted his corner to step up. They knew that their fighter was in excruciating pain, and whether I didn't get a chance to talk to Wilkie about that particular part, but whether Wilkie could sense that he broke a rib or not, he relentlessly went after that body. And I hope you get to see it, because it was definitely email AlessiPromotions.com and just say, hey, listening to the Billy C Show talking about this card, is it going to be available for us to see? Because it was that fight alone is worth it. But there was some great fights, some other great fights too. Young flyweight sensation Ray Dominguez, he too went to the body. Now, he was just signed with Alessi Promotions. He improved to 7-0 when he knocked out Manuel Galvez, who dropped to 5-9 with a couple of knockouts, again with a body shot. Now, he knocked this guy not once. He knocked him down with body shots not once, not twice, but three times. The third time, the kid Galvez dropped right in front of us, and I was calling the action with world champion and pound-for-pound top female fighter Chevelle Halbach, which was a pleasure. She does a great job. And this kid, Galvez, was dropped right in the center. Usually you see those body shots on the sides, kidney area that do the most damage. This one was right in the center of his stomach, and he went down writhing in pain. And it wasn't just from, loss of breath. I mean, this kid was in pain. He was laying down there for several minutes. Both of the ringside physicians came up to inspect him, and he finally was able to get to his feet. Devastating knockout by Ray Dominguez. Keep an eye on this kid. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try to get us to do some stuff on him. Naomi Boscus. This is a female phenom who had a very successful amateur career and has been scheduled to fight in her pro debut for several different dates, that all of which were canceled or something came up, her opponent fell out. She finally made her pro debut against Anita Adorno out of Mexico, and she looked real good. First of all, she's a gorgeous young woman, and I think she's going to go far. She's got a great daughter and a family, and she's a really good person. So I hope that she continues her career. Rumor has it she has signed with a promotional company. It was a one-sided fight. She won. All three judges saw it at 40-36, giving her the first win of her career. Adorno dropped to 0-4. I will tell you this: there was some holes in her game. She did have a tendency to drop her hands at times. She was susceptible to certain punches, a right hook to the chin, to the cheekbone every single time. But again, my man Sherman Henson happened to have been working her corner too, and we talked after the fight, and that's going to be the first thing they go to work on. But for a girl that stepped in the ring for the first time as a pro, she did a fantastic job. I hope that I get to see her again, and she's another one to keep an eye on. Anita Rodriguez and Christina Swanson. Now, Christina Swanson is a local product. She lives in the Tampa area. She was an undefeated fighter. She started her career working with the late, great Angelo Dundee. And, I was asked a couple of times to try and find her some work. And we had a hard time matching her up. She went into this fight 2-0-1. That one draw was against Anita Rodriguez, who went into the fight 1-0-1. And these two fighters had a great fight the first time out, and they wanted a rematch. Now, here's the thing. The first time out was both of their previous fights. So they came off their draw, and they fought each other again on Friday night. Now, it was a pretty entertaining fight. Here's the thing. It was a very close fight. And Christina Swanson had the height and arm reach advantage, but she failed to utilize it. And she actually at times fought Anita Rodriguez's fight. The end result was kind of crazy. I thought that at best the fight could have been a draw. I thought on my scorecards I actually had Swanson winning, but the first round was extremely close. I could see the judges giving it to Rodriguez, but then the rest of it was cut and dry, in my opinion. I thought the fight ended, like I said, I gave that first round to Swanson, but I could see the fight ending in a draw, but that's not the way the official judges saw it. One judge scored at 39-37 in favor of Christina Swanson, which is what I scored, but the other two had it the other way, 39-37 in favor of Anita Rodriguez. Swanson loses for the first time of her career, dropping to 2 wins, a loss, and a draw. And Anita Rodriguez, on the other hand, is now 2-0 with a draw. I mentioned in a little write-up that I wrote, I would love to see this fight again. I would love to see these two fight again. They already got 8 rounds under their belt against each other that you could argue every single round. So, sometimes, you don't want to see rematches and let alone, trilogies. But in this case, I think it might be worth it. So, James Gooding and Jason Valley tried to get it on, and they did for 3 rounds until 49 seconds of the third. James Gooding stopped Jason Valley. It was 2 debut fighters, and they were giving it their all. It was a very entertaining fight as well. Amos Coart knocked out Alexander Blanco at 40 seconds into the first round of their scheduled 4-round lightweight bout. Cowan improves to 4-0 with 3 knockouts, and Blanco dropped to 1-2. Marquise Davis and Beaton Laurent. What a show this was. 2 guys, super middleweight fighters. First of all, they both walk into the ring just in great shape. They were in great shape, and they both were letting bombs away. Now, going into this fight, Marquise Davis was undefeated at 4-0, all of his wins coming by knockout. And he was in there with Laurent, who was 1-2, had never been stopped, and this guy was in great shape. And they just exchanged bombs from the opening bell until the final bell, and all 3 judges saw it the same way, 39-37 in favor of Marquise Davis. Now, I will tell you one thing, the round that he lost was the second round, because in that second round, he clearly took it off. He had spent a lot of energy in the first round, and Beaton Laurent tried to take advantage of him in the second round, which he did. He won that round. But all the other rounds went to Marquise Davis. There's another kid. Keep an eye on him. He's 5-0 now with 4 knockouts. In the opening bout, Terry Williams was making his pro debut against Marlon Farr, who was 0-1. This fight was a very entertaining fight. Some things. Terry Williams thought that he was already an accomplished world champion level fighter with the way he was fighting. The overconfidence in this guy was his demise. He was tall in light heavyweights. He was tall, and he was a guy that should have been utilizing his jab, because he had a nice long arm reach. He had some pop behind it. But instead of snapping out his jab and actually using it as a jab, he was using it as a measuring stick. He just held his left out, and he would hold his left out, and then come over the top with his right hand. Now, the first round, it was successful for him because he won that first round. But then the rest of the fight all went to his opponent, Marlon Farr. But here's the best part. At the end of the fight, and it was a close one, all right? At the end of the fight, the ring announcer, who was Jason Alessi, they hand him all the scorecards, And it turns out that one judge had it 39-37. Another judge had it in favor of Farr. One judge had it 39-37 in favor of Williams. And the third one was announced at having it even at 38-38. So they both raised their hands. They both get a draw. Everybody thought they won. People clapped. It was an entertaining fight. And just before the two fighters walked off the ring, the announcer, Jason Alessi, gets up and he says, we have an announcement to make. One of the judges, after realizing that he calculated wrong, and he checked it by taking off his socks and shoes and adding up his cards again, realized that he indeed did not have the fight scored at 38-38. He had it scored 39-37 in favor of Farr, giving him the majority decision win. So Terry Williams loses his pro debut. He's 0-1. And Marlon Farr, he evens up his record at 1-1. All I'm going to say is this. What a great card this was. And if you get a chance to watch it, definitely watch it because it was a good one. Well worth it to check out. Now, what I suggest is that you email AlessiPromotions.com and ask them for some information. Now, they originally put that on as a pay-per-view webcast, which you guys know how I feel about that. But I have a feeling that they're going to let it, they're going to open up the gates on that one and let that fight get out there. They should, because it was a very good one. It would help not only the young fighters that were on the card, but also themselves. So just email them, tell them that you heard that fight might be available for you guys to view, and find out how you can do that. I got to take a break. I'm already late, man.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't...
Hit Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh?
What? We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C. sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. show. He's Billy C., and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C. first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C., a radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. And if you don't have Fight Now on your sports channel lineup, the hell you waiting for, man? You got to call your local TV provider right now and tell them that you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call them. www.fightnow.com will get you all the information about the channel. We're still going through the results of the weekend. I just got very heavily into a card that I did, and I tell you, it was a good one. It was a real good one. But more One more Friday fight night result, I guess is how you say it. The IBO 130-pound champion Will Tomlinson improved to 19-0 with 12 knockouts when he made a successful title defense and won a technical decision after 7 rounds over Daniel Ruiz, who drops to 27 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. It was a scheduled 12-round bout, but a cut caused... a power outage caused a blackout, and the fight had to go to the scorecards after 7 rounds. So I don't know why I started saying cut. I was thinking of all the blood in another fight that I watched. But Tomlinson had dropped Ruiz in that fight, and we'll see what happens. 70-62, 69-63, and 70-62 with a way to 3. Judges scored that one. All right, now for the fights on Saturday, Miguel Kessler, he improved to 45-2 with 34 knockouts when he knocked out, that's right, he did, he knocked out Alan Green in the 4th round. Green drops to 31 wins, 4 losses, 21 of his wins coming by knockout. And Kessler, like I said, improved to 45-2. Took place in Denmark. Green sent Kessler to the canvas in the 1st round, but Kessler ran and stayed out of trouble for the rest of that round. He got back and landed some solid shots onto Alan Green in the 2nd and 3rd round and left Green in some trouble after the 3rd round and definitely finished him off in the 4th. So that's that. There was a vacant title on the line, of course. Some BS title. Oh, that's right. When you say BS now, it's always preceded by the WBC because they put their silver light heavyweight title on the line. Come on, man. Come on with this crap. Kessler. I think he's overrated anyway, but he gets a W, and now, does he go up into the light heavyweight division? He's got the belt. So you're telling me that that's his problem? That's why he's got the other 2 losses, because he couldn't make weight? Come on, man. Come on. And Alan Green knocks him down. What do you think? What do you think a legitimate light heavyweight? Put him in with Bebop Shumenov. See what he does to him. Anyway, Patrick Nelson improved to 15-0 with 8 knockouts with a unanimous 6-round decision over Gaetano Nespro, who dropped to 19 wins, 8 losses, and a draw. Mateusz Maznernak improved to 27-0 with 20 knockouts with a unanimous decision over marginal opponent Harry Miles, who dropped to 7-5, 99-90 twice, and 99-91 for the 3rd judge to give him the unanimous decision. So we'll see where these guys go. According to Sauerland, who is Kessler's promoter, says Miguel is right back into the mix. And in this, he says, I had some, and Miguel Kessler said I had some ring rust going into the fight. I had to shake it off. That's why I was in trouble in that 1st round. He says, but hey. I'm rolling with this. Callie Sullivan said this knockout and the way he set it up with working the body shows that he's still at the top. I had said, and this is from Sullivan, he says, I said he needs to win and he needs to impress to win and be impressive. And he did that. The people of Denmark can be very proud of their white Viking warrior. He's got some great fights coming up now. So we'll see what happens with him. And one of the better fights of the weekend, or at least one of the most anticipated fights of the weekend. David Price, he's the other 6'8" monster out of England. When people talk about the big guy, they talk about Tyson Fury, but I think David Price is starting to carve out his own little niche, not only there on that side of the pond, but over here too. A lot of people talk about David Price here. He's in 13-0 right now with 11 knockouts when he destroyed Sam Sexton in the 4th round. What a knockout that was. He is now the BBB of C British heavyweight champion. And I thought that there was a Commonwealth belt on the line as well. But it took place in Liverpool, England. The official time was 2 minutes and 7 seconds of the fourth round. So Sexton hit the canvas not once, but twice in that round when the prior to the fight being officially stopped. In a shocker to me. You know, I was just telling you how good Ashley Theophane was. I was just bragging of how much I thought that this guy was good and he was underrated and this and that and the other thing. But there was also one other thing I said, and I told you that he had one knock on him. And I told you that his one weakness was, what was it? Exactly. He starts off too slow, and that's exactly what he did against last-minute sub Darren Hamilton, who isn't a bad fighter, but he certainly was a fighter on his way up going in with 11-2 record. Gets the opportunity to fight Ashley Theophane. It was supposed to just be a stay busy fight because on the undercard there was a couple of fighters fighting for the right to fight him next and for his title, but Darren Hamilton made the best of his opportunity because he just outworked Ashley Theophane and won the decision. 117-112, 118-113, and 115-113, all in favor of Hamilton. He is now the new BBBFC, which is the Lionsdale belt, champion in the junior welterweight division. Theophane drops to 31 wins, 5 losses, and a draw with 9 knockouts. And like I mentioned, Hamilton improves to 12-3. What a devastating defeat for Ashley Theophane. And I'll tell you, as a fighter, if you're a fighter and you're listening and watching this show, man, you can't ever not throw punches, man. You can't take anything for granted. You know, you can't go in and take a fight in somebody's backyard and not be 100%. You know, you got to think, man. You got to think before you do it. Listen, in the sport of boxing, there's one of two things. You're either going in as the opponent or you're going in as the favorite. And now, you know, if you're not sure which one you're going in at, there's a couple of rules you can follow. If it's a short fight and you seem to be getting a lot of money for it, you know, if it's a 6-rounder, an 8-rounder, something like that, or even if it's a 10-rounder, and you all of a sudden seem to be getting a lot of money for that fight, chances are you're not going to have a chance in hell of winning that fight. Okay, you know, it may be a good opportunity for you, but you know, chances are you're not going to win that fight unless you knock out your opponent. I'm glad to see that Darren Hamilton went in there and kept his work rate up and took advantage of a guy that was just thinking of other things. Ashley Theophane, sometimes when you're a fighter and you're the big favorite and you're a titleist, you know, you think people are just coming in to spar with you, you know, and you don't give it your all. And I think that was the exact case with my man Ashley Theophane this past Saturday. So Theophane been beaten, and you gotta look at Hamilton now. Maybe there'll be a rematch. I don't know. Speaking of making his returns, did I say anything about making a return? But hey, it doesn't matter what I said. I'm talking about this now. That's Orlando Solis. He improved to 18-1. I still laugh every time I think of his name and the big swim on the coconut raft, but that's not what makes me laugh. What makes me laugh is the fact that his team says he was winning the fight, that everyone knew he was going to beat Klitschko, you know, and didn't even win that first round, didn't even get out of the first round, and he's still living on that. But he looked good with a 12-round unanimous decision over Constance Eric. Solis improved to 18-1 with 12 knockouts. Eric dropped to 22-5 with 2 draws. Took place in Texas, and he basically controlled the fight from start to finish. My man, Nate Campbell, was there as well, so I was talking with him just before that fight. 118-110, 119-109 twice with the way the judges scored it. You know, as far as Arak, he was interviewed after the fight. He says, I felt I had too much respect for Solis, and I didn't go in there as aggressively as I should have because I know that he's an excellent counterpuncher. I just didn't deserve to win this fight, but I'll be back. Hey, good counterpunchers still get hit too, you know? Up in Canada, in the Nord country, super lightweight Derry Jean improved to 22-0 with 14 knockouts when he won a unanimous decision over Leonardo Tyner. And Tyner was a last-minute sub. I liked this matchup, but Tyner didn't fare too well. He drops to 25-8 with a couple of draws, 15 of his wins coming by knockout. This was for the vacant NABF belt, and that now belongs to Derry Jean. The scores were 119 to 109 3 times. So that's that. Nicholson Pollard improved to 18-3 with 8 knockouts. He also captured an NABA title. His was the light heavyweight with a split decision win over Lionel Thompson. My man Lionel, Lonnie B. You know, he's a little overconfident too, and he has a tendency to start slow sometimes, and I bet you that's what happened there. Lionel Thompson loses for the first time, 12-1 now, and Pollard just unleashed a body attack in the first half of the fight that had Thompson in some trouble. He's out of Buffalo, I told you that, but he was just outworked. The way the judges score it was 97-93, 96-94, and one judge had it 97-93 for Thompson, given the split decision win or majority decision win for Pollard. So, also on that card, Ahmed Chachinko won a unanimous decision over Laszlo Kumthulai, I think is how you spell it. And some really tough names to pronounce that I'm not even going to try. So just go punch it up. IBF Super Flyweight champ Juan Carlos Sanchez improved to 16-2 with a draw. 8 of his W's come by knockout when he made the first defense of his title by winning a 12-round unanimous decision over Juan Rojas. And this took place in Mexico. 118-109 twice, 120-107 in the one-sided fight. Also in the welterweight division, Armando Robles improved to 20 wins, a loss, and a draw when he beat Alejandro Barrera in a 6-round decision. And an interesting note here about Barrera, this was his first, and I say first, loss of his career. So he drops to 19-1. So that pretty much wraps up the fight cards for the weekend. And like I said, Alessi Promotions, the fight that I called ringside, you need to try and watch that fight if you can. If you can't, I have a feeling if you email, you'll get a link to it, and they won't be charging you for that. But hey, one other thing I want to mention before we get into this drug talk. I'm not talking about weed either. Gleason's Gym, they got that. I was talking to my man Alex Papali last night, and we're both really excited about the thing at Gleason's Gym. You know, you can't miss the banner now. It was kind of hidden, but we got the right ones from Bruce, and you can go up to the website www.billycboxing.com, click the Gleason's Gym banner, which is on the right-hand side of the screen, and that'll take you right to their website. Now, you could sign up for their fantasy boxing camp, which is taking place in August. And as soon as you do so, please email us, Billy at talkinboxing, TALKINBOXING.com, so that we can put your name in a hat. We're going to draw a winner. We're going to follow you around. We're going to write an article about you and record your whole experience at your fantasy boxing camp. So if you sign up for that, drop us an email. You can call Gleason's Gym if you want, 718-792-2872, or just visit our website and click the fight poster for that one. So, Andre Berto test positive for a controlled substance or a banned substance or whatever you want. It's a PED. The fight has been canceled. You know this. It took place on Friday. It was a rematch. It was a well-anticipated fight. There was no question about it. We all wanted to see the Victor Ortiz Andre Berto rematch, but that's not happening, at least now. He did test positive for a steroid. Just trust me, he tested positive. I can't pronounce it. The bottom line is There's no comments being made. His promoter, Lou DiBella, says, I know he tested positive. I got nothing to say. There's no details. Andre Berto, he said, I didn't do it. I've been framed. I didn't test positive. And surprisingly enough, Victor Conte, who's his guy, that's his guy, he's being blamed. Now, this was a guy that was, the former the big cheese at Balco. And we all know this guy did time, the whole nine. And he's made some interesting comments. He was on Twitter, I guess, making all these comments. And some of them were Andre Berto's positive test for nandrolene has absolutely nothing to do with me or any supplements I provided. Likely trace contamination. Now, he kept saying trace contamination, and people were like, well, what the hell is, trace contamination? Well, trace contamination, as defined by Victor Conte, is contaminated, not a container, but where they test, where they put the test in, was contaminated. And so, in other words, a sample that was previously tested that had, a PED in it, it was left over, and that's what it. So it's trace contamination. That's what he's saying. No, he's not saying that this is what it is. He's saying it could have been. We don't know for sure. He says he goes on to make some other comments like Andre has admitted taking supplements other than what I have provided without my knowledge. Apparently, something was contaminated. Again, these are quotes from Victor Conte, who's supposed to be his nutritionist. I just got one question to ask. If you're paying a guy to monitor your diet and your nutrition and your supplements and vitamins and blah, 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 why would you take something else? And even if you did take something else, why wouldn't you tell him? I mean, didn't Victor Conte, from day one, say, okay, I want to see everything that you're taking right now. What do you put in your body? I want to know. I mean, so, that whole, oh, I forgot to tell you thing, I find that hard to believe, especially when you're forking over big bucks the way these guys work for. But anyway, he says this shows that VADA, which is the anti-doping agency, is highly effective. I encouraged Andre to enroll in it, and he comes up positive. An investigation is being executed. This is what I was saying earlier. When you got a fighter that is actually the one that wants to have the testing, and then he himself tests positive, it makes you wonder what the hell's going on. They can't possibly be thinking that they're going to take something illegal and they're going to beat the system. You have to assume the other side of the coin, that they don't think they're taking anything. I mean, same thing happened with Lamont, Peterson. But Victor Conte says several hundred positive tests are for nanodrolone. I don't believe they are using it with an intent to cheat, but it's always trace contamination. He's saying that that's the most common steroid that gets people test positive for. He says a lot of uneducated people. He makes a statement that there are a lot of uneducated. It sounds like I'm pretty uneducated, huh? He says there's a lot of uneducated people. Nandrolone is the longest-lasting steroid known to man. No athlete would ever use it with the intent to cheat. Now, why does he say this? Because it stays in your system for over 18 months. And he says that's why it's nicknamed the kiss of death steroid. So in other words, what he's saying is, if you're going to cheat, you're going to use a steroid that does not stay in your system long, because you're going to use it for that bang, and then you want it to get out so you don't get caught. He's saying somebody that's using this, it's in your system for a long time, so you're not really doing it with the intent to cheat. You're doing it for other reasons, I guess. I don't know. He says cross-contamination. Now, there's two kinds of contamination, trace and cross. He says cross-contamination occurs when equipment is not properly cleaned and runs of different supplements or even underground drug labs cause cross-contamination. He goes on to say, I've been encouraging all my fighters to sign up and be part of VADA testing, and will continue to do so. Boxing is now learning lessons that the Olympic athletes learned years and years ago. He says hundreds of Olympic athletes have been testing positive for traces of nanogeline. I don't believe any of them injected it with the intent to cheat. Sometimes you can't protect fighters from themselves. I've advised boxers not to take different supplements, but they don't always listen. So we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see where it goes from here. It's just it's an unfortunate situation. I hate to say this, but you look at a fighter like Andre Berto, and you can't help but say to yourself, he is kind of chiseled. He does look like, But like I said, you hire a guy like Victor Conte or anybody that's a nutritionist or a supplement guy or whatever. And I think rule number one has to be, what are you taking, man? Everything you're taking, I need to know. And then you need to listen to him, So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel with this, Now they did find out early enough, so that the whole card wasn't scrapped. Like the card was scrapped for the Lamont Peterson Amir Khan fight because that B sample didn't get tested. Now, as soon as the A sample was tested positive for Berto, they immediately expedited the B and found out relatively quickly. And as a result, the card is not going to be canceled. Everything else is in place. But here's the best part, at least for me. I love Joesito Lopez, and it was announced late last night that Joesito Lopez will be the guy who fights Victor Ortiz. I like Joesito Lopez, but here's my one problem with this. Now, Golden Boy is Ortiz, right? Ortiz and Golden Boy. Berto was DeBella. And, Berto, DeBella is probably upset because, the money was supposed to be coming from Golden Boy, but here's my only problem with Joesito Lopez. He's moving up in weight to fight Ortiz. Now, Ortiz did fight at the junior welterweight level, but that was 3 fights ago. And Ortiz definitely looks big. Joesito Lopez was in training in a junior welterweight fight. He clearly is going to be the smaller guy, but he's a tough SOB. And, if he can put on the weight, if he can put on some weight, all right, if he can put on another 5-6 pounds or not worry about losing it, I should say, and come in nice and strong, he's going to give Victor Ortiz a good fight. There's nobody tougher than Joesito Lopez. As a matter of fact, I thought he beat Jesse Vargas in that fight. It was a close fight, but I thought that Joesito Lopez won that fight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to give you some more of my thoughts on that in about 2.
The 2012 Summer Olympic Games unfold in 5 months in London. The honor and the history of playing host goes back a long way. How long? That's next on Sports Shorts with me, the Sports Princess.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Legend has it that the Olympics go back to Hercules, but let's leave Greek mythology out of it. The modern games opened in 1896. Since Athens couldn't afford to put them on, a businessman ponied up the coin. pole vaulting, weightlifting, shot put, and swimming, few of the handful of events. Since those days, some of the original sports remain. Others come and go, depending on the whims of the International Olympic Committee. Australia, France, Germany, and China have hosted Summer Games, and this will be the third time for London. As for the Winter Games, the U.S. has hosted them 4 times since they started in 1924 in France, featuring sports like alpine cross-country skiing, figure skating, and such. Between the Summer and the Winter Games, there are hundreds of sports and thousands of athletes. You never know what city is going to get a crack at hosting next. I'm the Sports Princess with Sports Shorts.
Talking Boxing with Billy C. Every week, 2 hours of the best boxing talk on the radio.
Mike Tyson looked like he put on some pounds. He was fat. He went into McDonald's and he just said to them, hey, give me 6 of everything on the menu. He put on 2 watches and covered 2 time zones. I'm talking fat here. Got on a scale the other day and it said, come on, one of you guys got to get off. Last thing I heard is that he jumped into the ocean and he left a ring around the continent. He's fat.
Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
Talking Boxing with Billy C.
The one, the only, Don King.
Makes me feel good, Billy, to have you, the #1 show in the country, Talking Boxing with Billy. So I invite each and every American that's listening to this great show to tune in, because we want you to be there with Billy and me.
St. Jimmy's coming down across the alleyway, up on the boulevard like a zip gun on parade. Lights on the silhouette, he's in some butter net, coming at you on the count of 1.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel, and if you don't have Fight Now on your sports channel lineup, you need to call your local TV provider and tell them that you want Fight Now on your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. I don't care if you have satellite or cable. You need to pick up the phone and call them right now and tell them you want Fight Now. This way you can watch our show. You can watch my ugly mug. www.fightnow.com will get you all the information about the channel. Also tell you who's scheduled to fight tonight, because every night is fight night on Fight Now, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So check out the website for all that info, www.fightnow.com. Speaking of now, I want to remind everyone that, we do have the premium podcast subscription available. What that is access to all of our content. It costs you $15 a year. That's right, a year. Yes, you can listen or watch the show. There's many places you can listen. It doesn't cost you a nickel. But if you want it all and you want access to all of it that no one else does, then you need to become a premium subscriber. For $15, it's worth it. Like I say, what the hell are you waiting for? You can't even buy 2 beers and tip the bartender for that. And we're talking 1 year's worth of content. So, you know what? Don't complain you missed the show if you're not willing to become a premium subscriber, because you guys are the special ones. And you're going to be getting some special prizes coming up in the near future, so stay tuned for that. We're talking about Joesito Lopez taking on Victor Ortiz. It's going to be taking place on June 23rd. I like the matchup. Victor Ortiz, he's going to be bigger, but Joesito Lopez is a guy that, in the first Berto fight with Ortiz, we saw that Ortiz has heart now, right? I mean, I questioned his heart when he fought Marcos Maidana, but he showed me he had some heart against Berto. And when he fought Mayweather, it's such a weird fight. I mean, who knows what would have happened or whatever. I mean, we can all assume what happened would have happened, but in a better way. But the bottom line is Joesito Lopez is going to really see. We're going to know for sure if Victor Ortiz has heart or not, because unless the size becomes too much of an issue for Joesito Lopez, which I don't think it will, he's going to be testing Victor Ortiz. Now, the only thing I got to worry about with Joesito Lopez fighting Victor Ortiz, if I'm Team Lopez, is Ortiz's power. Whether you like Ortiz or not, you got to give him credit. He's got some pop. There's no question about that. I like the fight. I'm looking forward to it, that's for sure. My main man, Curon, who does so much for the show behind the scenes, really, he sent me some info that I haven't seen anywhere else. And what it is the prize fighter, right? Well, June 20th, there's going to be a prize fighter tournament. It's going to be the heavyweight tournament. It's taking place Wednesday at the York Hall in Bethel Green. My dream place. I would love to go there. I've never been there. It sounds like such a great place to watch a fight. But check out some of the names that are going to be on there. I'm just going to tell you the three top names. 3 former world champions. They announced this press release. They say 3 world title challengers are in the first 4 names announced for the prize fighter tournament, which will be held at the York Hall in Bethel Green on June 20th. Kevin Kingpin Johnson, Albert Sosnowski, and Callie Meehan all have agreed to fight and have all fought for world titles. And the 4th member so far is Tom Dallas. This is the 28th 28th edition of the prize fighter tournament already. Now, some of these guys fought a little while ago. Kevin Johnson and Sosnowski, they both fought Klitschko for his WBC heavyweight title more recently than not, and lost. But Callie Meehan, well, he went and fought and lost a close fight to Layman Brewster. So that was several years ago. This isn't the first time Johnson was set up for prize fighter. As a matter of fact, he was supposed to fight a year ago, against the one when Mike Perez won, and he backed out of it. He claims that his problem was passport issues. But once again, Kevin Johnson comes out with some stuff, and this is the reason why I have a hard time liking this guy. He says, and I quote, this is Kevin Johnson says, "I'm ready to put the American heavyweight boxing scene back on the map, starting with the prize fighter tournament on June 20th. So far, so good. I mean, you make a statement like that, I'm not going to get upset with that. That's cool. And it's not because he says, he's going to put it back on the map, but that's not out of the ordinary. I mean, you're promoting the fight, right? You're trying to give some hype. I mean, we can't criticize him for that, right? I don't. He goes on to say, like I tell everybody, I am the best American heavyweight, bar none. If people see me, they know it. Don't worry about Seth Mitchell or Chris Arreola or any of those other clowns. Just focus on me and watch me deliver. I'm the best heavyweight in the world, and that's not named Klitschko. And after prize fighter, I'll take care of that too." How can he refer to Seth Mitchell and Chris Arreola as clowns when he wouldn't even fight either one of them? I predict, and I said this to my man Alex last night, I think that Kevin Johnson will eventually fight Seth Mitchell. And I think it's going to be a good test for Seth Mitchell, not because Kevin Johnson is so good, but Kevin Johnson can box. And Seth Mitchell, to me, is a one-dimensional fighter. But how can Kevin Johnson make a statement that he's going to prove everyone and deliver? Well, wait a minute. Just focus on me and watch me deliver. We did focus on you last time you cried all this BS, Kevin, and you delivered us with a stinker, and I've lost every ounce of respect. I was one of the biggest Kevin Johnson fans. I was one of the guys that said Kevin Johnson's going to be the next world champion. And then Kevin Johnson spewed some BS like he is right here, and then laid an egg against Klitschko and fought like a girl. And I don't mean a female fighter. I mean a girl. A little grade school girl that gets into a pulling hair hissy fit, I should say, not sissy fit. A hissy fit with one of her friends. That's the way Kevin Johnson fights. He's a girl, right? And then he's starting off telling people that don't worry about the clowns, and he's referring to Chris Arreola and Seth Mitchell. Either one of those two guys destroy Kevin Johnson. Chris Arreola and Seth Mitchell, they're both biding their time for another world title shot, but should they have the balls to get in the ring and fight somebody other than, and Kevin Johnson isn't even that tough of an opponent. They don't fight him, and he wouldn't fight them. So it just irks me. And he says, I was devastated when I learned I couldn't travel last year because of my visa issues. Yeah, right. I think he's full of it. He says, I'm not taking any chances. He says, in the prize fighter, he says, I'm in top shape, and I'm gonna make everyone recognize me by knocking out everyone I face in the first round. All 3 fights are gonna end in the first round. I'm taking no chances. I'm bringing my A game to London. Come on, what do you want to bet right now that all of the fights don't end in the first round for him? Unless he gets knocked out. What do you want to bet? He doesn't fight like that. He's a BS artist. He talks smack and doesn't deliver. He says, I'm already coming off a huge win in Australia, so after this whole world is going to know that I'm back and I'm ready to defend. That's a whole nother issue. Here he is. He's currently the IBF Australian champion. How does he become an Australian champion anyway? How does Kevin Johnson become the Australian champion? Don't you have to at least live in Australia? I mean, we know he's not Australian, but don't you have to at least live there? Come on, man. Come on. It's sickening. It really is. Holly Holm. Holly Holm is going to be doing a rematch with Anne-Sophie Mathis. It's taking place June 15th at the Route 66 Casino Hotel in Albuquerque, New Mexico. One of my favorite places on this planet. And I'm going to get to go there again because I'm going to be calling the action ringside for the rematch. The first fight was fantastic. The whole card was, too. And I'm anticipating this one to be just as good. I have a feeling that, it's going to be fought the way it should have been fought the first time. Holly Holm was quoted as saying, I felt like I was fighting but I got over anxious. She says, I felt I could land and wanted to follow up, but I didn't stick to my game plan. I didn't fully respect her power like I should have. It was definitely the toughest fight I've ever been in. She's a stubborn-minded fighter, unlike fighters I've faced. She's not cocky or overconfident. She's just very tough. Holly Holm's not BSing right there because that's a perfect evaluation of Anne-Sophie Mathis. She's, she did seem a little confident, but not overconfident. She certainly wasn't cocky, and she's one of the toughest female fighters. Let me rephrase that. She's one of the toughest fighters I've ever seen, myself personally. Holly went on to say she knows what I want to do, but she's not scared of me. She's a good fighter who's confident of beating me. I'm confident I could beat her in this one. I've evaluated a lot of things. I'm taking what I did wrong, and I'm making them right for this fight and beyond that. I lost, but I've learned the most from losing to make myself better for this fight. She says, I lost the fight. I'm making no excuses. I got beat. There's no way around it. I had to be honest with myself, and I got better. It happened. Maybe it was good that it happened for me to get better at this point of my career. I could have fought the rest of my career, never losing again, but I wanted to fight her. It was a rough fight for me, and I've battled my demons over that night. If I didn't believe in myself, I've already lost. Nobody's coming here. Nobody's going to go in there and fight for me. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm looking forward to it. For information about that fight, you can visit Fresquez Promotions. FresquezProductions.com. If you want to stay and you want to come and get tickets or whatever, and you want to hang out with us, man, do it and drop me an email. I would love to get a count. If you're going to come out, you don't have to just live in the Albuquerque area, too. I would love to have some people fly in from out of town. Stay at the Route 66 Casino. That's where I'm going to be staying, and we can have some fun. Just let me know that you're coming, and especially if you're a female. I want all the females to come, all right? Just leave your husbands and boyfriends at home. No. Just the single women. Just kidding. I want everybody to come, all right? Route66casino.com for more information about that. And Dax and I did a preview on this fight and you can check it out if you go up to BillyCBoxing.com. Actually, there's a press release about some of these quotes that I just read you from Holly Holm, and at the bottom you can click, and there's a link for the review that or preview that Dax and I did. But so what's going on with this Johnny Gonzalez fight with Sanchez? No, not that Sanchez. Sanchez number 2, right? This was Salvador Sanchez number 2, not Junior, number 2, the nephew of the late great Salvador Sanchez. First and foremost, when they announced this last week, I laughed out loud. LOL, LMAO or whatever, I just laughed because Johnny Gonzalez is the real deal, right? And, the WBC, he's the champion of the WBC, and Sanchez numero dos has been beaten just, should I put them up as high as defining them as marginal fighters or journeymen? I don't even know if they're that good, but he's clearly not a world-class fighter in my opinion. But nonetheless, he was in line to fight Johnny Gonzalez for Johnny Gonzalez's title. And all of a sudden, they said it wasn't going to happen. Now, the promoter of the fight, the projected promoter of the fight, got really pissed off, and they were saying some things in the press that he was scared. Sanchez number 2 was scared, wanted to called out Johnny Gonzalez, and then backed out of the fight, and they offered him $35,000, and they rejected it out of fear because they don't want. And then they're even blaming the WBC because they think that the WBC told Sanchez not to take the fight because they were going to give him another opportunity at another time, and blah 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 blah, and you're wondering what the hell's going on, right? Well, Sanchez numero dos, he responds to what Gonzalez was complaining about, and he says, first of all, I want to make something clear. Salvador Sanchez is no coward. I would have never challenged Johnny Gonzalez in the press and publicly in his face if I didn't want to fight him. That wasn't the issue. He says that the promoter said that they offered us $35,000. That's a lie. They offered us 200,000 pesos, which equals about $1.55 in the United States. No, it equals about $15,000 in U.S. money. He says, and that was, we laughed at that. We said that we would take the fight for $50,000. They said they offered us 35, and really only offered us 15. So they came back and offered 25, and they still said no. They said the magic number was 50,000. They said if they offered us 50,000, we would win. We would take the fight. So we'll have to wait and see. But there was one thing that I wanted to make a point. Jose Sulaiman. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but I spit on the WBC. I spit on the WBC. Jose Sulaiman has lost his mind, right? I've said this already, but I'm not going to mention my friend's name. But he was telling me that he was present for an event, and Jose Sulaiman was there. And I mentioned this once before. And Jose Sulaiman was there, and they put him up on a stage. It wasn't even his event; he was just there as a visitor. It was a WBC sanctioned fight, so he was there for that. And they put Sulaiman up on a stage in a chair, and people literally, this was in Mexico, people literally were coming up and kissing his hand, like he's royalty or something. And he just sat there and got all the attention and wasn't really talking. Let everybody come up and pay their respects to this man. And I didn't think anything of it, other than he's just a clown and people are stupid. But in this response, this documented response from Salvador Sanchez, numero dos, he says, he goes in here and he's he says everything I said. He says, I'm not going to fight for less than what I was receiving for 8 rounds to fight, that's why he's talking $50,000. He says, I want to thank my team and the WBC, especially Don Jose Suleiman. Don Jose Suleiman. You know, is this like The Godfather? Is that why they were all kissing his? They call him Don Jose Suleiman. Come on, man. Come on. I don't know. What's happening in this world? What's going on, man? Can somebody please tell me? I don't know. Meanwhile, back at Golden Boy camp, Golden Boy signed a couple of more fighters late last week. Junior welterweight Johan Perez out of Venezuela, and Julian Ramirez out of California. Perez is 28 years old. He's got an undefeated record, 15 wins, no losses, and a draw. 12 of his W's come by knockout. Turned pro in 2005. In his last year, he stopped Fernando Castaneda in the fourth round to win a interim 140-pound belt. He signed on with Golden Boy, so we're looking to see him and his first fight under the tutelage of Golden Boy. Officially, they've been working some fights with him, but rumor has it that he's going to be on the July 28th card in San Jose, California, which is the Robert the Ghost Guerrero and Selçuk Aydin fight. So we'll have to wait and see what takes place on that. They've also rumored that he may be fighting as soon as June 16th in Mexico if he can get ready. So we'll see what happens with him. Now, he's the older one. Now, Ramirez, on the other hand, is a young kid. He's only 19 years old. He's a junior featherweight. He's the nephew of the late former junior lightweight champ, Gennaro Hernandez, who died last year with his battle with cancer. Ramirez is a pro. He's 2-0 right now with 2 knockouts. He had a very respectable and impressive amateur career, 78 fights as an amateur, winning 73 of them, including the national PAL title, a junior Olympic title, and a 2011 Mexico Games title. He made his pro debut this past February with a first round knockout, and fought a couple of months later. So we'll see when he fights. Again, it looks like, according to Golden Boy, that he may be fighting on June 2nd, as with his first fight under Golden Boy. So congratulations to Golden Boy. You know, I was talking with Alex Papali yesterday, and we were talking about just that, about, we were talking about a lot of stuff, but one of the things is we were kind of disappointed in the sport, in a sense, because there's really 2 promotional companies running the sport, and that's Golden Boy and Top Rank. And then everybody else just wants to fight their fighters. And Alex was like, well, you know, Golden Boy's not really building up their stable the way they should have. And, you know, I said, you know, I thought that too at first, but now when I look at it closely, I think that they're doing it perfectly. And they did start off, when they first hit the scene, signing some older fighters and everything else. But they had a reason, because they've methodically added young fighters, and now they're the complete package. They have, you know, top experienced fighters, world champions. They have middle level fighters, and they have young fighters starting out. So Golden Boy has done it correctly, and so has Top Rank, and maybe that's why they're the leaders. You know, Don King used to do it that way, but not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. But my man Comanche Boy, George Tananapa, he's looking for a fight. He's been, listen, he knows. He said, they keep feeding me cupcakes and I eat them. He said it on this show. Go back and listen to the interview if you want. It's under the hot interview section. But you know, he knows that he's got to fight an up-and-come, you know, step up his level of opposition. He's already got 31 fights under his belt. He's undefeated, 30 wins, no losses. He does have 1 draw, 22 of his wins coming by knockout. He's fought some guys like Jonathan Korn and Jimmy Holmes and Tyrell Brown and you know, basically unknown guys like that. And now he's ready to step it up. He's ready to step it up. And who's he calling out? A guy that I happen to think would be a really good fight against him, and that's Jermaine Taylor. Now, Caleb Truax, who Jermaine Taylor just beat, fought a similar opposition as George Tananapa. So I think it would be a pretty evenly matched fight. So, hey, you know what? I'm not a big fan of his management team, George Tananapa, but I'm a huge fan of George Tananapa. So I hope he gets the Taylor fight. A win over Taylor will definitely get him where he wants to be. This weekend we got Alisher Rahimov against Ji-Hoon Kim. It's going to be a ESPN Friday night fight card. It looks good, man. I like that card. I like Ji-Hoon Kim. He's 23 wins, 7 losses, 18 of his wins come by knockout. No defense with this kid. No defense, and he needs a win. Now he's taking on the undefeated Alessi Promotions, who's 23-0 with 12 knockouts. Just knowing the style of these two fighters, this ought to be a rock'em sock'em, fight that both fighters are going to be exchanging bombs. That's for sure. So we'll have to wait and see. Now Boyd Melson, you know him. He's the one that has just $1.org, donates all his money to spine research and everything else. He's got an 8-1 record. 4 of his wins come by knockout, and you can see him again on June 14th. He's going to be fighting at the Roseland Ballroom on June 14th. So make sure you mark that one down. If you like this kid, he's going to be taking on Enrique Gallegos in a 6-round fight. Gallegos has got a record of 6 wins, 5 losses with 1 knockout. So Boyd Melson, he's a feel-good story there. At least I think so. But anyway. And one last thing I'm going to mention. On June 8th in Montreal, we have Eliter Storm Alvarez. He's 8-0 with 5 knockouts. Is going to be making his first NABO light heavyweight title defense against Sean Hawk. And Sean Hawk's got a record of 23 wins and a loss. I think that's going to be a pretty decent fight in Montreal up on June 8th, or I should say on June 8th. So make sure you mark that one down for sure. But anyway, hey, don't forget, we got Thumbs Up, Thumbs Down. It's a short show. It immediately follows the Talking Boxing with Billy C radio show. So if you haven't checked that one out yet, maybe you should. But right now it's time for...
Wake up. It's time for the... It's too early for a trivia question.
And today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question. Question is being sponsored by StrictlyBusinessBoxing.com. My man. Go check out his website, www.strictlybusinessboxing.com, and let us know what you think, man. You can get to it just by going www.strictlybusinessboxing.com or go into our links section, because we only link to only the best sites, and you can check out some other great sites in our links section, www.billycboxing.com. Go into the links. Now, we got a tough question, and we got a really good prize on the line for this one. What's on the line for the winner of this question is your very own Title Bout Championship computer game. Now, the championship computer game is not a graphics-based game. It's you're not going to see real-life fighters coming out of the TV and popping you in the face. No, what it is a simulation game. You do see graphics. You do see 2 fighters fighting. But it's more geared towards a simulation game, where you put in these basically the specs of the fighter, but you could put any fighter you want, current, past, a current against a past great, whatever. You put the condition they're in. Who you could even change their trainers and you could put Angelo Dundee training, Big John L. Sullivan or something or whatever, and you could put them against whoever you want. And based on the statistics, which they've been compiling since the 70s. You can run the fight 1,000 times and see how the computer picks it out. It's a very interesting game, and it would be great for your collection if you know this answer. Who fought the most fights from 1940 to 1949? And you can find out information about the Title Bout Championship game by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com. Who fought the most fights from 1940 to 1949? If you know the answer, email me, Billy at Talking Boxing. That's TALKIN. BOXING.com. One more time, who fought the most fights from 1940 to 1949? Your own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game on the line. If you know the answer, email me, Billy at TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by Campanaro and Tomkovich. If you're looking for a lawyer, use the ones that keep my ass out of trouble, and that's Campanaro and Tomkovich. Give them a call today, 845-221-4099. That's 845-221-4099. Tell them Billy C sent you, and that I'm going to pick up the consultation fee. That's all right. 845-221-4099. On this day, May 21st, in 1933, Tony Canzonori wins a 10-round decision over Battling Shaw to win the World Junior Welterweight title, and that took place on this day, May 21st of 1933, in New Orleans. That's right. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. Don't forget, stick around for the thumbs up, thumbs down, but I got one more thing to tell you, just one more. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel, the Fight Now channel. Of course, call your local television provider right now. Tell them you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call them for all the information about the channel. And their every night is Fight Night schedule. Tune into their website. Yeah. www.fightnow.com. See you all tomorrow. Ciao, baby.